There's one part of travel that's harder than we ever expected. Commenters ask us how we eat healthy and maintain our fitness while we're traveling. In our first few years of travel, we lost weight, but in 2025, the wheels came off the bus and Kevin and I both gained weight.
We've been working more and our schedule's gotten tighter as we travel faster. Our bodies are telling us that the way we're living isn't sustainable. This isn't just a travel thing. Millions of people struggle with their health. It's what happens when life gets busy and healthy habits just disappear.
Today, we're being honest about the challenges we're facing and some of the ideas we're experimenting with so that we can continue traveling for another 20 years. I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Find Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way. Many people say it's just about discipline, and we would agree with them in the first couple of years of travel. But discipline goes right out the window when life gets faster and you're starting to do so many things that you don't have time to even think about discipline.
As women, we're also fighting our hormones, and calories in, calories out doesn't just work the same way it used to when we were younger. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that have been a bit more challenging for us. And these are not excuses, but we just really want to express how life is a little bit different for us now than it used to be when we were working and weren't living a life of travel.
I think one thing that we can explicitly say is we have to relearn our eating habits every place we go. So we can't say, well, we're only going to do these kind of vegetables and these kind of fruits, and that's going to keep our lifestyle a little bit better. Every market we go into is different. If we're in Asia, the wet markets are really tough for us. If we're in other places that may not have the best healthy food sitting around, we may grab more snacks. It's all dependent on where we are.
I know when we first started traveling, I was very cognizant of how expensive everything was, so we cooked a lot. But we also had kitchens pretty easily accessible. And lately we've been traveling in areas of the world that either don't have kitchens or have very limited ways for us to prepare meals.
Yeah, some of them are hotels, right, that have almost nothing.
Yeah, currently where we are, it's got, as you're kind of seeing the full room. There's not much more.
Not even a mini fridge. We got nothing here.
And that's not typically the way we prefer to travel, but sometimes the budget just warrants us to do that. We're here in Queenstown, New Zealand, which is a very expensive place to visit.
Yeah. I know that our situation dictates how I treat food. When we got to Vietnam and Saigon was such a chaotic mess for me and I was having so many issues with things, I was looking for a burger or pizza, and that's not the local food. So it's carb heavy and it's also kind of more expensive, and people are like, why are you buying that food? It's like, because this place is stressing me out right now and this is my comfort.
But I would even argue that there are places where the foods are carb heavy and it's easy to sacrifice protein and without getting into all the nuances, because I have been on so many diets that I could write a book. But I think that knowledge is just one piece of the puzzle. You know the right choice, but either you're worried it's not going to be filling, or can you even find those smart choices? So sometimes you're just willing to compromise just to satisfy your stomach or your mental well-being, because it really can be stressful when you get to that hangry point and you just want to eat.
Now, good intentions don't change things. We have a lot of good intentions, but when it comes down to it, and you have to get something done that day, or there's a tour and you have to get that in and you have to do this with somebody else, suddenly those good intentions just disappear.
And it's really easy with all of the sightseeing that we do to just think, well, you're walking so much, you have to be burning off all of those calories.
And those hills.
and I feel like there's two sides to that.
Yeah, getting a routine of some sort of health and fitness. I think we had more of those in the beginning because we had more time. Now we're not structuring that. And because you're not structuring in that exercise, it doesn't just happen. You know, whatever we do as far as these tours is not intentional exercise. Why are we doing this? It's raining.
We are getting our walk in regardless of what the rain is doing and weather.
It's raining.
We're committed.
French Riviera rain is still wet and cold.
Yeah, there have been times in our travel journey where we would say, as soon as we get up, we're going to walk for an hour before we do any sightseeing or anything else. And now we're at our keyboards, either trip planning or we've got a new app that we're working on. And as our channel is growing, that is also bringing us more work as well, which we absolutely love, but we also have to balance it. One of the blessings and the curses of traveling so much is that we are exposed to so many interesting foods. I mean, sometimes they're beautiful and you want to try everything and you want to understand the culture of a place. And the best way you do that is through food. But at the same time, that comes at a cost, especially if you're not cooking and you're eating restaurant food, which is designed to make it taste good, not necessarily being the healthiest food for you.
We want to make this very clear. We love our lifestyle. This is fantastic. It's not that travel is bad for your health. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that because we're doing so many things and because we're experiencing so many new things, that we have to work harder to fit in a routine to exercise. We have to work harder to make sure the foods we're taking into our bodies are giving us the most bang for our calorie. It's difficult in every place, and we're trying to work through this struggle, this structure that we're trying to build that isn't there right now.
Now, Kevin is not going to suddenly give up cappuccinos.
Or some of the pastries I see in the places. I mean, we're not eating that much food in the mornings.
Because we don't have formulaic foods, it requires us to just be a little more adaptable in how we're eating. We just haven't figured out quite yet how that's supposed to look for us, even though it's been 3 years of travel.
For us, this is a bit of a wake-up call because we don't want to end travel just because our bodies can't handle it. And we also want to enjoy everything we're doing. So if we're on a tour and there's a lot of steep hills, we don't want to feel bad about the tour because we're out of breath. I don't want to shut the camera off because I'm shaking from holding the camera as we're walking up this beautiful trail. It's really frustrating, and we just know that we need to recalibrate. We know that the things we're doing aren't exactly what our bodies need. So we're not giving up. We're just trying to readjust and figure out what's the best way to do this.
And I honestly don't think it's so complicated. I don't think that we have to suddenly change our lives 180 degrees. There are small changes, I think, that we can be making that will give us a lot of bang for our bucks. Because we're not trying to suddenly have six-pack abs. The idea is to be able to use a squat toilet in India and not feel like our legs are quivering like a chihuahua.
I really don't like that visual at all.
But it's true.
Now, this isn't a New Year's resolution, but maybe some of you have gone through this process in life where you've struggled with your health or you've struggled with changing your lifestyle. We'd love to hear about your stories in the comments below.
Especially if you've lived an unconventional life and there's like not the typical things that you would do when you're at home and you have all of the resources at your disposal. I don't know if any of you can relate to these things, but the ideas that I want to improve on for my body is being able to get off a shaky boat and feel like I have the balance and stability to be able to do that. Or that I can hike and not worry about falling and breaking a limb. Or,
you know, those are big things. I mean, she's laughing, but that's serious because if you feel unsteady in your body, and you don't want to take that boat ride, or you don't want to climb down that path, that limits what we can do, and that's not what we're living for. We want to enjoy everything that we can possibly do.
I know that one of the things that's been a bit of an issue and hasn't really helped things is that I don't drink as much water as I used to. And one of the reasons is because I don't want to spend the day exploring and only be looking for restrooms. And that's not the best solution either.
You gotta watch out for the P factor, yeah.
So there has to be ways to be building healthy habits into our lives where, you know, sometimes it's not big moves, it's small moves, but they're intentional, so that, let's say, you don't have to hold on to a chair in order to get up, or you can take the perfect camera shot from a kneeling position and get back up without embarrassing yourself because you're having to hold on. Or
She's talking about I was just on the beach trying to get a nice low shot of the water, and I was in an Asian squat. I didn't know if I'd ever get up from the Asian squat. I'm like, whoa.
can you help me?
You know, old guy here. Give me. Honestly, it's not about age though. This isn't an age thing, but we are looking at this as longevity. We do want to be flexible and mobile as long as we can be.
And I know that there are some people who prioritize fitness their whole lives, and this is a non-issue because it's such a high priority for you. But the honest to goodness truth is that we've taken decent care of our health, but it has never been about vanity or anything else. We just want to live our lives. Yeah. And so it's been something that's been somewhat easy for us to be disposable about when other priorities come up.
Yeah, I think if we had health problems or things we couldn't eat or things we couldn't do because of those health problems, we'd be more prepared to handle them. But because we've had it kind of easy and we don't have a lot of big health issues or medicines we have to take, it makes us a little bit maybe less ready to challenge ourselves when things go south a little bit, like these weight issues.
Yeah, I think you can be a little cavalier when you haven't had issues show up in your life.
That's a word I wanted, cavalier. Wouldn't come out of here.
I knew. But I also want to admit that just because we don't have health problems doesn't mean we won't have health problems. And gaining weight is certainly one of many signs that we should be listening to what our bodies are telling us and to take a different course of action, which is one of the things that we're planning to do and we want to talk to you about. In part to hold ourselves accountable, but also to get some ideas from you if you have any that are useful, helpful, productive, non-judgmental.
Especially if you've been traveling a lot and you've run into these same kind of scenarios.
This is a very vulnerable topic to bring up with the entire internet. So we hope you'll be gentle with us.
So let's talk about some shifts we can possibly make. Now, we're not the kind of people that immediately run and grab an Uber or something to get from point A to point B. We try to always walk to places. We look for places where we can stay that are walkable because we do enjoy walking and we see more while we're walking around. So that's a good thing. But maybe the shift in that needs to be not just for walking to a place to eat or walking to a place to see a museum. Now we need to think about, well, if we could gently shift that to, let's walk in the morning just for exercise, get up early with that intention and do that first. That'll add to our walking and it won't detract from anything else we're doing, except we need to make that intentional time slot for that exercise.
I think one of the easiest things we can do is for our accommodations. If it's 6th floor and below, we'll take the stairs. We may be huffing and puffing at the 6th story, but it's not going to be the end of the world, and it will make hills easier for us to climb, because we had a really hard time in some of the places we've traveled to that have had a lot of stairs as part of our travel experiences, like Calgary.
Right. And we know there's a lot of exercises we can do without getting on the floor, because either there's not enough floor space or some of these floors are not the prettiest things in the world. We can't travel with a yoga mat or anything like that. Just not going to fit in our carry-on.
And we do have exercise bands that we've never used.
They're pristine.
So we can commit to using those more if for no other reason, flexibility, which I definitely feel like is something that has taken a bit of a hit during our travels.
Yeah, and I feel like that's such a high priority as we age to be more flexible. I keep hearing it over and over again. If you're flexible, if you can bend over, if you can squat, if you can do these things with your knees, you will be in so much better shape in 10 years. And in 10 years, we still want to be traveling. In 20 years, we still want to be able to travel if we decide to. So I don't want our flexibility or our strength to be limiting us.
We're not suddenly going to want to stay at hotels or accommodations that have gyms. That's not always practical for us, and often they're pretty expensive. So I don't think that we have to blow our budget just to achieve these goals.
Yeah, and we've stayed at several of those and never touched the equipment. So I'm not sure that would be the incentive. I think we need to find something that happens
Organically.
that we can do anywhere. Yeah. If you have routines that keep flexibility in mind and you don't have to be on the floor or have specialized equipment, please let us know about that too. We'd love to hear about them.
When we first started traveling, one of the things that worked well for us was we had breakfast and we had dinner. And slowly, somehow, we started adding snacks to the mix. And those are empty calories, generally speaking, or at least the choices that we've been making. And I think it's going to be a better idea for us to incorporate a mid-afternoon meal that is a healthier option that also is grab and go.
One thing we've learned that really works well for us is to split meals. We can split a main and maybe a salad and be perfectly happy with that meal. We also know that not every day we're in a place has to be a food tasting experience. We can have those 3 or 4 times in a week maybe, and the rest of the time fill in with just healthy foods.
Yeah, when we get into the habit of having a single meal that is our full day supply of calories or more, that gets us into trouble. And I think that while gelato is its own food group, we can't eat like we eat in Italy or like the Italians do in every place that we visit. So maybe we get gelato once a week instead of a Magnum bar every day.
I do agree that those small changes can make a big difference in our health.
So this experimental phase means that there's a lot we just threw out there, and we're going to have to figure out which things we can actually live with and make parts of our routines, which ones aren't really practical, especially when we're going to be in Africa in a few months. And how is that going to work? We're going to be in Asia. There's a lot of different parts of the world that we're going to have to adapt.
I think prioritization of our health has to be top of our list. There's so much to do every day. We can fill every moment with work and things that we want to get done and new experiences. But if we don't prioritize our health above all those, we will be in big trouble in 5 to 10 years. You know, you've probably had the situation where you're not in the mental state all the time to do the correct thing. It just is a practice. You have to get used to a new habit.
It's a discipline.
It's a discipline and a new habit.
We know that if we want to continue seeing the world the way we've been doing, that we really need to take care of the vessels that are helping us to do all that. And we don't have all the answers, but if you have tips that you think will help us, we're open to hearing them.
Be kind. Our time in Tasmania with its wonderful fresh vegetables, beautiful outdoor hikes, amazing scenery, all made us want to take care of our health better. And if you're interested in Tasmania, watch this video next.
Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, we'd love for you to do that.
And remember to
wander more,
worry less,
and bring a passport.
Until next time.
Until next time.